Easy to look at right now. Oil prices up about 1.5%. What are the broader implications of this for oil in particular if the U.S. continues to blockade Venezuela and seize these tankers?
So in the short term, it removes oil from the markets, right, which is helpful because we've seen the prices coming down. They don't produce that much, roughly 1 million barrels per day, and they were less than 1% of exports. So it's not a huge impact, but it does reduce the amount of oil. Over the long term, if the president does get a change in leadership in Venezuela, which means a more friendly government that allows more investment in there, then you're going to start to see production go up. Venezuela used to produce 3.5 million barrels of oil per day. It's got infrastructure there that it could get back to relatively quickly with foreign investment, which it's going to need. So ultimately, it would pressure oil prices. But in the short term, it's a lift.
All right. You've been on with us before talking about an opposition party that's really been pushing for regime change.
Yes.
It seems like the administration is leaning towards regime change. What would that mean, and what would that signal about Trump? Would this be a Trump doctrine that we could see playing out?
Well, they have specifically talked about late last month, there was a national security strategy statement that was put out by the administration where they talked about renewing the Monroe Doctrine in the Western Hemisphere, which happened under President Monroe, which said the U.S. is in control of the Western Hemisphere and there should be no colonization by the Europeans in our hemisphere. He's expanded that to reflect what was also called the Roosevelt Doctrine. And he's made it clear that the U.S. wants to be in control of the Western Hemisphere. What does that mean for Venezuela? We know that China has been investing in the oil industry in Venezuela. Hezbollah's in there. Russia is producing arms in Venezuela. The U.S. administration clearly wants them out of there. The question is, what comes next? The opposition, the leader of it is now in exile, living in, or is currently in Oslo in Norway after receiving the Nobel Peace Prize. What happens if they get into power or if there's a change? Are they the leadership? Does the administration strike a deal with some lower level of people underneath Maduro, push Maduro out, and then, decide they're going to work with whoever's there to try to get stability? That's the question. We don't know what comes next, and the U.S. administration hasn't made that clear. Obviously, they don't want to show everybody their plans,
right.
But,
So what does this mean for investors? This morning, again, we're seeing oil higher.
Yeah.
We're also seeing gold higher. The gold part is a safety play about the idea of potential military action that maybe some investors see possibly playing out. What other parts of the market could this potentially impact outside of oil?
Well, first of all, if there were to be a change in Venezuela where there would be a more orthodox investment structure and regulatory framework, you could see all kinds of things happen there. They have thousands and thousands of hectares of arable land that you could produce fruits and vegetables on, massive amounts of produce that they don't do right now because they've always been so focused on oil. They have gold mining there, which right now is being done illegally. So there's lots and lots of options and lots of investor options if and when there is a change in the leadership there that allows for a more investment-friendly regime.